Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the craft room cleanup. I am so excited to be sharing with you kind of a little more details on my three-step process for cleaning the craft room. I do wish I was in my craft room to present this information to you, but instead I am in my kitchen, actually sitting in my little walker. So you may see me kind of rolling around and shifting, but there's good reason. And eventually, I'm hoping the next time you see me on video, I actually will be recording from my craft room. So are you ready to fall in love with your craft room again? Or maybe you just want to fall in love with a little area within your craft room, maybe a drawer, maybe a corner, or maybe you love your craft room and that's not why you're here. We all have different reasons for wanting to be here. And for me, it's been 8 weeks since I've been able to craft in my craft room. And that is why I've put together this little plan to help me get back to loving my own craft room and wanting to share the journey of that with all of you as we go. So I'm grateful and happy that you guys are all here and you accepted my invite to join. And as I mentioned, for all of you guys who registered, you will get the recording email to you. And I will figure out how to do the printables so that you can actually write in them, because that's the whole purpose of them. These darn web links, again, my word of the year is courage. And so I'm taking the courage to try all kinds of new things, but there's going to be little bumps along the way until I can master some of those pieces. And using web forms is one of them. So before I get into my confessions of a messy craft room, I do just want to introduce myself because some of you may not know who I am. I'm Trisha Shalo, and I love to stamp. I love to paper craft. I love all things lime, and I love my mugs. So normally, like I said, I'm in my happy place, but today I'm in my kitchen, which not necessarily a happy place for me, but one day we'll get back to that craft room. I'm also an HR professional by day. So I do work full time helping people and leaders create great workplaces. And I'm also the leader of the stamping teams, or actually I should say the senior Rita of the Twist and Dab stamping team. Now I do both stamping and HR because I love them both. I have a real hard time separating the two because they're both about helping other people with their issues or things that they're trying to achieve. So I don't know, one day it might come where I pick between the two, but for now, you guys will kind of share me with my day job, which I love so much. So where this all began, you guys, it's been 8 weeks. It was 8 weeks yesterday since I was last in my craft room. And let me just paint a picture for you guys. So the week before, we had just finished wrapping up a bingo night, a stamping bingo night. And if any of you guys have participated in bingos, you know I like to add little treats, little crafty things. Sometimes we make tags. We had a bingo day. So there was like bingo cards and things all spread out, trying to get everyone's kits together. Then we had an advent calendar, a group that I'm in, where I had to make 24 small packages. And we made these I made these cute little calendar cards, and then I pre-cut a whole bunch of extras to use as class kits or incentives for different sales things for this month and next month. So I left all of that out because I wanted to go and make these kits, right? So on my craft table, I've got all this bingo stuff in one corner. I've got all of this other project in one corner, but then that same week, there was also a Make It Monday where I try and share some inspiration and crafts. So we've got all that made up. Now, remember, I said I work full time. So usually in the mornings or sometime in the evening, I'll pick up and clean up after that particular project. But I've been doing daily reels. And so in the morning, I kind of make something. And then if I've got time, I'll clean it up before I go to work. And if I don't, well, it kind of gets delayed a few days until I can get to it. And if not, by the weekend, Saturdays are cleaning days to get the craft room cleaned up, or Sunday so that it's all ready for Make It Monday on Monday. So anyways, we've got some real projects going on the craft table now with all this other stuff. It was also my mother-in-law's birthday. So I had to card and I had to wrap a gift. So there's all this little stuff there. And normally I know exactly where everything is, but November is the busiest time of year because it's also holiday season, right? And so not only do we have all these little side projects, I was also taking some classes on my own. So I have some projects from a class that I was working on that I never quite got finished. That kind of just got shoved to the side, hoping I would get that completed because I think there was like 6 cards as part of that project. And then to top it all off, and I'm sure there was more in there, but then it was the final Christmas card stamp-a-stack, Christmas cards. So I had finished prepping all the kits and we had our class Friday night. So 8 weeks ago yesterday, I had my last Christmas card stamp a step. And so the projects, making all the stuff, which kind of would normally be just in baskets beside me, is kind of fit wherever it would fit because of everything else that had happened in the week. So can you imagine this pile of stuff, right? Then I'd also gone shopping in between there now and then. So there's little bags of this, little bags of that, because I was also planning and prepping for like team stamp togethers and different things. So there's all kinds of stuff happening. Oh, and then Christmas, right? Some stocking stuffers, gift bags, everything just kind of got shoved on the island. But then Saturday hit. So Saturday, cleaning day, could not wait to get back. So in fact, Kira and I decided, Kira is my daughter. She's 17. I love her to pieces, but she's not someone who likes to go shopping with me. She will drive around. I could be driving for hours on end and she will sit with me in the car because she loves listening to tunes. But if I ask her to stop and go into a store with me, it's like I'm asking like for the world of her. She will like beg and plead to stay in the car. But this Saturday, 8 weeks ago today, she had said, no, let's go, let's do it. So we had gone out, we treated ourselves to Starbucks. We did a little bit of shopping. We ended up doing our annual K&K trip to buy some part-to-find gifts for Christmas. And you know what? We found every one of them we were looking for. We were stoked. It was like the best day ever. We went, we had lunch, we enjoyed ourselves, and then we made a plan. We're like, you know what? We're going to go back home. We're going to clean. We're going to decorate the house this weekend and put the tree up tomorrow. Like the tree plants were going to go up Sunday. We just had one more stop. We had to go to a Christmas craft fair in the area. It was the last one before the season, and some beautiful vendors, like great things. I purchased little gifts for friends. I purchased a little gift for myself. I bought this beautiful rustic willow star that I wanted to do a little Christmas display on the front porch where that table sits. That's the reason why the table got put out on the front step. Anyways, and I'm, walking around still sipping on my Starbucks because for whatever reason, I wasn't drinking it in full. I must have been too full in the morning when I got it. Anyways, enjoyed the craft fair, visited a great friend, and then left the event. As we were leaving, it was in the parking lot where I had that little fall. I slipped in the parking lot, carrying my bags. Can you imagine carrying grocery, like my gift bags in one hand, this big star also with that. And then I had my Starbucks in this hand because I wasn't done, still sipping it. And somehow I fell. And like this, when I think about it in slow motion, it was just like whoosh. Now, after the fact, I'm like, I have no idea how I didn't crush any of the bags, how I didn't break the star. And you know what? My Starbucks, which was still like a quarter to a half full, still had coffee in it. But can you imagine this whole mess slipping? Boom. Anyways, fast forward to where we are today. It took a long time to kind of get through the healing process. So I slipped. I took my first ambulance ride. There were some great bystanders who looked after me. Thank goodness for nice people who also took care of Kira. That'll definitely be a day Kira never forgets because I'll never forget her face when the man asked her to call 911. She was like so freaked out. But anyways, it was such a good experience. And I have to say, I'm glad I went through that because I learned that our healthcare system is actually very, very amazing. I am so impressed through the whole entire process in to out. Even though I was in there for 19 days, that was a long time for me to spend to kind of research the system. But anyways, it was fabulous. But because I spent so much time not walking, not moving, I've been out of shape a whole lot. And it got me thinking, you know what? There's a lot of other people out there who are in the same boat. Or maybe they've gone through surgery. Maybe they've suffered an illness, or maybe even worse, they've suffered a loss in the family. And sometimes it's really hard to get motivated to do things or to get back to what makes us happy. And so I'm kind of using this as a little journey to do things, but doing it in baby steps. And for me, it has to be in baby steps because I'm not mobile. I'm still moving around via a walker. If I'm on my main floor, I'm moving around in this like wheelie thing, but it's going to still be about another 5 more weeks, I think, before I can slowly start putting weight on it. And it might even be longer than that. I have a funny feeling it's going to be like close to a year before I'm back to my normal self. But the whole goal is that I want to be back in my craft room by October so that when we start the Christmas rush all over again, I am in a whole different state than I was this past year. So hopefully you can relate to that, or you kind of see where things are going. I just know that it's not just me that kind of needs help walking through some of these things, but there's others. And in fact, I had a call from a lady not too long ago whose mother-in-law had passed away, who had a craft room that was so full of stuff that she had no idea what to do with it. She called me just about in tears, not knowing how to get rid of this stuff. And do you sell it? Do you just give it away? What do you do? And it was like, yeah, you know what? How many of this, like, how many times does that actually happen where all of a sudden people are no longer back in their craft room, and we also have to dispose of it for our loved ones. That's another whole topic, but I'm kind of hoping that some of this will help address kind of getting to that final state, because one day if I want to move or downsize a little bit, or who knows, I'm just thinking overall so that it's something that helps everyone, because like I said, we're all here for a different purpose. But it's getting injured, and that's made me not mobile, that's kind of creating this to where we are today. Anyways, I hope that all kind of makes sense. What else did I want to share? I'm sorry, I'm using my cheat notes here. Okay, now I could have, like, because of this injury, it really knocked me out. I'm still not back at work, and there's no way I think I can. I will be in a few more weeks, like hopefully by mid-February. But it takes a number out of you. It takes a number out of you for energy, your mind, all kinds of things. But it's not just all of that. It's the mind sitting here knowing that there's that mess downstairs that needs to get taken care of. Are any of you guys like that? I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a super organized person or super detailed person where I need to clean all the time. I'm not. But I do get anxiety when things aren't where they're supposed to be. For when I go to look at them the next time. So I think I've got a good balance. I can live in a mess, but I can't live in a mess. Everything has to have a home where I know it needs to go back to. Anyway, so again, just to kind of put my family at ease, I've had to come up with this system so that when I ask them to go downstairs and get some craft stuff, they know exactly where to go, right? And that's kind of the whole point. So let me share with you kind of what that looks like. So reasons why your craft room needs to be attention. So some things to think about. And like I said, it's about staying organized and efficient so you know exactly where things are. Like I said, especially if you have to have someone go down and get it, you want to be able to direct them to where they can go and find that. We want to make sure that we have a clean room. And the reason why is for a safe space. And now we kind of think craft room, safe spaces. No, like other people sometimes come in and out. And I was reminded of that as my cat is walking all over this pile of stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, please don't fall off. Because when you fall off, you're taking that pile with you on the floor. Don't want her to break a leg or get some paper cuts. And then my husband or son who kind of walk downstairs to use the washroom, they go in there when it's dark. I don't want them tripping over anything because I remember how I left it. Plus I had my husband take me a bunch of pictures when he's going to find things. I know how bad it was. And it's like, yeah, I got to move that, clean that, because I don't know what it is, but my boys will not just take action. They're waiting for me to tell them to do it. So they can walk by or trip over that box 100 times, but they're not going to move it. Guaranteed. Well, actually, I know they haven't. It's been 8 weeks. So anyways, we want to make sure that it's a safe space for everyone. Plus, I need to make sure that it's wheelchair accessible or like walker accessible so that when I do get downstairs, because I did get down there once last week with the help of my boys, but I do need my walker and my wheelchair or my walkers down there. So I need room, right? And so you want to make sure that it's clean for purposes like that. Plus, like I said, reduces stress. So these are the key components as to why we want to do it. We want to make sure it's done because when we're less stressed, we're more happy, and it's, our craft room contributes to it. Even if it is not top of mind, you might not even think you're thinking it, but subliminally, you know it. Like it's bugging you. You just can't physically see it. Okay. So like I said, one day you might find yourself there. We're going to get you prepared so that you're all ready to have a great space so that you're not in as bad a shape as me. So are you guys ready to hear more about what that system is? I did kind of spill the beans a little bit in that video I did on Just for the Love of Stamping, but here it is. I actually refined it actually. So previously I had called it organizing, cleaning, and purging. But you know what? I thought about that a little bit more. And yes, that's what this all is. But for me, it's a little bit more. It needs to be more clear. It's not quite clear enough. So my 3 steps are tidy. And the reason why I picked tidy is because it truly is about returning your items or finding homes for your items in your craft room. So it's tidying up that space. It's going to focus on how and when we do these things. It's not going to be about designing kind of your room to work for functionality. It's not going to be about finding organization solutions, although You may see some or find some, because I will share how I store mine or what I'm thinking I might need. But that's not the whole purpose of this. It really is trying to find things that you have around the house to kind of help you tidy the space that you're in, if that makes sense. And like I said, I probably will still share some of those other tips, but that's not the focus on what tidy is about. Then step number 2 is let go. And as I say that, I can just hear that song singing, Let It Go. You guys know which one I'm talking about. And that's the purging side of things, I guess you could say. It's really about letting go of some things we don't love, maybe some things that we do love. We might not have room for it, so maybe we should consider getting it into the hands of someone else who it'll bring joy to. But I'll share like different ways and things to consider as we get there. Now, the last one is clean. And so cleaning, that is all about, yes, finding the dirt, the dust, the grime that has crept into your craft room. Although I know, most of us do. I know you do keep your room clean per se, but I had to make this differentiation because for some people, tidying and cleaning kind of are one of the same. But I want to say no, cleaning is something completely separate. And although, yes, you might vacuum, you might wash your floors, and you might dust the overall surfaces, there are those hidden spaces that we do not address, or we don't address often. Some of us might, but I want to make sure that we kind of find all of those spaces just to make sure that at least once a year, you're kind of tackling some of those things that kind of sneak up on us. So that's the cleaning part. So 3-step process, we're going to look at tidy, let go, and clean. And you know what those 3 things are? Those are the TLC. That's the TLC that you need to kind of fall in love with your craft room again, right? Our craft rooms need tender, loving care, but not just our craft rooms, so do you. So before we can pay attention to our craft room, we need to focus on you and yourself, because the only way our craft rooms are going to get into shape is if we're kind of acting as our best self. And so I have created that worksheet for you, the craft room worksheet, which you don't have, or you have to view, you just don't have to print right now. So I'm just going to share my screen. Whoops, no, I'm stopping sharing my screen. That's the wrong screen. I am going to share. Oh, maybe that was my screen and it just came up in a different way. Okay. Yes, I just have this view open that I just need to close. That's all. Okay, here is the craft room cleanup worksheet. This is a journey to go from catastrophe to craft haven. So you guys, this is really what my craft room looked like after I left. Like seriously. Oh, also I had, there's some things that got put in here after the fact, a lot of things that got piled on because I also did the craft room clear out at the end of the year, but I just had my family run things up and down and go find things. So as they were doing that, things were getting all crazy. Anyways, and I don't think I updated my sign since like November 22nd, or maybe it says November 24th. And then I want to take it to a state where it's lovely again. In fact, it would be awesome to have in-person classes again. So from a mess to better, or the best, from a mess to the best. Then I included in this worksheet. Now this I did not mean for you to print, only because I left all the color in there. I try to do minimal color for printing, but if you want to print it, that's fine too. This is just to give you a visual on kind of what a dream looks like. And so for me, my dream is to get my craft room back in order again, to make it functional again. That is my dream. Now, I was fortunate enough quite a few years ago to get the craft room of my dreams of what I could fit inside this house. I mean, I'm sure there's tweaks, but for me, the craft room functionality is my dream. Now, for you, as you go through this process, your dream might just be to get a beautiful ribbon display in order. And so our dreams can all be different things. So this is just something I want you guys to start thinking about. But I wanted to share this visual with you because I don't think I truly understood goals to the extent that I did until I had this visual. And so let's use that example of finding a ribbon display. You want a beautiful ribbon display in your craft room. So we need to break down that dream into goals. How are we going to do that? So let's see, for instance, I need to I need to find out what display I want, because although I want something, I don't really know what that's going to look like. So maybe my goal number one is to discover a display that you love. Goal number two might be to reduce your ribbons from 100 rolls to 50 rolls. That could be a goal that someone has. Another goal could be, what other goal for ribbon do we have? Another goal could be, I don't know, I can't think of it right now. I had all 5 of them listed out. Anyways, lost my mind. But anyways, you get what I'm saying, that you're going to pick down all your different goals, things that you want to try and achieve that relate to building that display. Now, when you put your goals into steps, what you want to think about, okay, let's use the example of reducing the number of ribbons that you want to have. So in order to get to 50 ribbons, what do I need to do? So step one might be, go through and look at my ribbons, see what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. Number two, make sure that all those ribbons are ready and packaged for sale. Number three, price all of the ribbons. Number four, find different Facebook groups or marketplace to sell it on. And the last one is sell X amount of dollars to put towards my goal. Actually, that was probably one of the other goals. Have X amount of dollars to build your dream or to build your display. Anyways, do you get what I'm saying? And then here, it's like taking those steps one step at a time. So the first thing I need to do, I need to go through my ribbon. The next step is I need to, or maybe when I go through my ribbon, I need someone to help me take down all the baskets of ribbon to go through. Number three, I need to sort and package, right? And so you're just going to work on one thing at a time so that it's not so large. But anyways, no matter what it is, we all have different dreams. Think about what it is you want to accomplish over this next year or going through this project with me, because that'll help. Now, your dream might not be something that is completely achievable, and that's okay, because you're going to have it all broken down. But you know what? Even if you tackle just a few of these steps, you're going to be that much closer to actually achieving what it is you want. So the next page of the workbook is all about the chronicles. This is where you're going to explore kind of more about yourself and about your craft room, what it is, what kind of TLC we're going to have to give. And you're going to do that by finishing the sentences that have been listed out here for you. So the first one is kind of listing what crafts is it that you enjoy doing. You know, some of us just have one craft. Maybe some of us have 3 or 4 crafts. And all of these crafts have supplies that kind of take up our craft room. So we want to take a look and really, make sure we document what it is we're doing. The amount of time that I spend in my craft room is, and this is just to kind of share what's currently happening. Be honest. I know sometimes we spend lots of time, sometimes we don't. Maybe it's just at certain times of the year, but document all of those different pieces of when you spend that time. Then when you're done crafting, how does the cleanup happen? This is where you're just going to kind of remind yourself how it is you clean. And again, be honest. Are you cleaning right as you stamp, as you're going along? Are you cleaning up after you're done that project? Maybe you're waiting a few days because you're hoping to do a few more like little bits over the days. Or maybe you just do it once a week like I do. Maybe you never clean. But just document it here so that we have a record of it. And then the last one is, how does your craft room make you feel? How does it make you feel as you're walking through this? And again, be honest, this document, this is only for your personal use. No one else is going to get this. This is just for you to be true to who you are and what your craft room is. And it's a great way to kind of document it. So when you look back in a year from now or in 5 years from now, you'll know exactly kind of the state of affairs then compared to now. So as we take a look at our craft room of today, we want you to consider what it looks like, maybe some areas that need attention. And so just kind of describe what it is your craft room looks like. What is it you love most about it? Because you know what? We love being in our happy space. We love to do things. Is it the crafting? Is it the pictures on the wall? Is it the supplies in front of you? Again, for everyone, that's going to be a little bit different, but what is it you love? And then when you think about what it is that needs your attention, maybe just jot it down here. And then that'll just kind of help you. Obviously, if it's top of mind, it's something that you do want to make sure it gets addressed. Then that way, that's kind of like your own accountability to go back to be like, hey, did I actually get that? Having it written down will just help you stay focused on getting to that place. And then when you think about this journey you're going to go on with me, or you think about your craft room and kind of where things are at, what are some things that'll make you happy? When will you be happy? Is it after that ribbon is all designed and sorted, or will you be happy along the way, all the little steps that we take to kind of learn new things? Because maybe you're a lifelong learner. Maybe that's what's going to make you happy going through this process. But just document what it is that makes you happy. Because you know what, when we do that, it actually always puts smiles on our face. That's one of my other passions. I love diving into positive psychology. I just think the world could be a better place if we all had more positive thoughts and positive stories to tell. But sometimes we just need to be reminded of some of that. So now, then once you go through all of those, don't jump ahead, because the idea is to get you thinking about all of this stuff, because sometimes we think about it, there might be things in there that we didn't even realize that we wish we had. But as we start jotting down, we're like, oh yeah, you know what? I totally forgot I wanted this because of XYZ. So after you go through all those questions, then you're going to take a look and draft your craft room wish list. And so what this is all the things that you kind of wish kind of improved, or you wish you had in your craft room. And I know someone had mentioned that this list isn't long enough. You know what? Just print out 2 of them. But the idea is that you'll list your wish. I wanted to put your wish came true, but that was just too many words here. But ideally, like once you complete that, or once you achieve it, just check it off so that you know you did, and the date. And then that'll also kind of help you see how long it actually is taking you to accomplish some of this. I mean, this isn't a race. You don't have to get it all done right away, but it's just kind of good if you're keeping this as a memory document, kind of to know when things happened, or how long it kind of took you to get to different places, so that if you end up in the same spot again someday, you'll kind of have a better idea of maybe what not to do, or maybe things to focus on to help you get back to the way you need to be faster. Then the next page, we have your craft room of the future. So now that you've gone through and you've thought about that current state of your craft room, you've thought about what's going on, what do you dream of it to look like? So now when that wish list, you kind of had some ideas, but now this is where you get to kind of put your mind and your creativity to the test. Now, this is just dreaming. This isn't like, it may be pie in the sky for you, but think about what it is that you want to do. So these are kind of going through the same questions. So say in 1 year from now, what are the crafts you enjoy doing? What amount of time are you spending in your craft room now? Because maybe that was one of your goals, to spend more time in it. Maybe you need to spend less time. Whatever that is, in a year from now, what does that look like? And when you're done crafting, how does cleanup happens, and how does your craft room make you feel? So this is just kind of visioning what your future is going to look like. So although we know what it is today, what do you really want it to be? And so again, document it. Then we're going to go through and do some craft room reflections. You're just going to want to look back on your answers and reflect on what could be. So how did your notes make you feel? I want you to kind of take a look and do this after the fact. Like again, the worksheets are meant to go through in order. But what are some words that were minimizing? What were negative words? What were some of those things like I can't, or I don't, all of those things? This is just to kind of write them down and make us aware of us using those words. Because a lot of the times we don't realize that we're thinking that way, or we use those words. So this is just going to kind of help you pick out where you are so that you can, slow down on using them, or try and replace them with different words in the vocabulary. And then just kind of checking in again on your feelings about how your craft room is after that. Because sometimes once we go through this process, you realize that, hey, maybe it isn't as bad as I think it is, or wow, yeah, I actually really do love my craft room more than I thought I did. So I'm hoping that exercise will help you get something out. Now, are you ready to kind of see what that 3-step process is? You have a step, or you have the the piece in your workbook. Now I shared with you what those 3 pieces are, so you're going to have to write them in there. And again, does anyone remember what they are? Put them in the comments if you do. So there's a spot there for you to include those. And then of course, a couple of pages of notes. You can print those off for whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, that was a lot on those, that worksheet. So hopefully you guys all really enjoyed or enjoy going through that worksheet. I'm sorry that you couldn't print it, but I know it'll be a good reflection process, and it'll be really good once you're all done. I think this is a good starting point for all of us. I too am going to go through and answer all of those questions before I start and dive deep into the craft room. Now, I do want to share, oh yeah, Sherry, you got it. Way to go. I do want to share that that's just the step process. So within those 3 steps, of course, we're going to be tackling a whole lot of other stuff. And as we start the tidy section, we are going to, sorry, I'm trying to like minimize my screen and close things as I'm trying to talk. I can't do multiple things at once. I'm learning. I used to be able to. Anyways, the craft room cleanup, cleaning points. Okay, so I'm just kind of giving you guys a little teaser. There are different points that I've addressed that each of these 3 steps are going to tackle. And when I say cleaning points, these are basically just rooms of your house, not rooms of the house, rooms of the craft room that are going to help us stay on track and work through the cleaning, the tidying, and the letting go step by step. So I'm excited to share that process with you. Now that's going to be all part of posts that will end up going up in the Heart Stampers group. So as part of this webinar, you guys are all invited to join the Heart Stampers group. And that is where I will kind of post weekly updates and fun memes around this. But all the videos will be uploaded into that group that I was telling you about. But if I don't get it up and going in time, they will be posted in the Heart Stampers group. Now, the Heart Stampers group is my VIP group for people who support my small business. And so I want them to have everything that I'm sharing. So they're not getting this particular video unless they signed up. And that's okay. But the little memes or the little notes that I've made will kind of be posted there, but with the more in-depth cleaning videos being posted in that other group. Hope that all makes sense. And I can take your questions afterwards for anything that you might need addressed. But what I wanted to share one step a little further, which I'll get into more as the weeks to come. And like I said, I'll share in a post this week so that you can actually see it all, is the cleaning points. So in our craft rooms, I've listed 14 different cleaning points, and I'll list them out here for you because you guys can see if I've missed something. Actually, I wonder if I can share my screen. Let me just pull them up on the screen quickly here so that you can see them. I think this will make more sense if you're able to visually see them. Okay, and sorry, this is in like a weird format, but at least for the most part, it makes sense. It's just not in perfect shape. So there are 14, whoops, wrong one. There are 14 points. Oh, it says that's where it is. Maybe I just have to toggle. Why isn't this posting for you? Okay, do you guys see it? Hopefully you see it. I think I'm on the right page now. So the craft room cleanup has 14 cleaning points. And I should also say that these aren't, well, I guess they're somewhat listed in order. They're an entrance. The entrance, I feel, is the #1 most important part to your craft room. We've got display areas. We have your workspace. We have your desk office space. We have inks and markers. We've got your paper storage, your stamp storage, your ribbon storage, your embellishments, your tools, die cut station, card storage, album storage, and pending projects. Now, if you're a crafter who's maybe not a scrapbooker or card maker, just kind of change those storage areas to something that might apply to you. So if you're a crocheter, maybe it's your yarn storage. Maybe it's your actual completed project storage. So just kind of revise those different steps to fit your craft, whatever it is you're doing. Because I'm a stamper and I'm a paper crafter, these are all geared to paper crafting. So is there anything that you think that I might have missed as a point in our craft room that we need to give it attention? I feel like I've captured it all, but by all means, post in the comments or send me a text later if you think that there's something missing. Like I said, I will be posting this in the Heart Stampers group so that you can see it more accurately, because I do have a plan. There is a plan for tackling all of these cleaning points. And as I mentioned, number one for January, number one is my area of focus. And that is because when you walk into your craft space, the goal is to smile every time you walk in there. That is supposed to be your happy place. You want to feel loved. I'm also thinking it from the husband lens, as I think of my husband walking in. And if he walks in and he sees it, he's just going to be more grumpy that I'm doing this. Where if it's all nice, hopefully he'll have a little more sympathy for my craft and the amount I've invested in it, if it's all taken care of. So that is the area of focus. Now, each month I've broken down the cleaning points from January to December. Some of them overlap in other months, so it just depends. But I'm going to be focusing on covering all of that, starting with the entrance points. So I hope you'll join me on the journey each week. I've already started the entrance, just as an FYI. Like I said, I managed to get downstairs this week. I didn't get the video done because I wasn't too sure what that would look like, but I took pictures. So I was able to go down there for 30 minutes at a time. That's it. And so each time I tackle this, it's probably just going to be 30 to 45 minutes, no more than an hour. And again, the idea is just to break everything up into baby steps so that it works for me. Now, if you are someone that wants to work a half a day, a whole day, you do as much time as you want on it, but just know it might be a little bit before I get to the point where you are. But I will have the schedule up so that you can take a look at what my recommended actions are as a place to start. So the front entrance, let me see which one. So for January, I've got entrance or cleaning point number 1, number 2, and number 3. So that's covering the entrance, any display areas that you have in the workplace or in the workspace. And then number 3, the workspace itself. So when I say workspace, I mean it's the table or the desk where you actually do your physical project making. That's what I mean by workspace. So that is what I'm covering in January. I'm already a little out. I was hoping to start a week earlier, but I just was not mobile enough. So we have started that last week. And you know what? It made a huge difference, like huge difference. I started by just sitting there, taking a picture of the front entrance of the room to be like, okay, what do we need to tackle first? And my number 1 tip is anything that is on the floor. It's kind of funny. It took a few years ago for my son to walk in the room to be like, Mom, why is this piece of paper on the floor? You know, if you just cleaned up these pieces of paper, your room would look completely clean. And it was funny because it was something that had just fallen on the table and I hadn't picked it up yet. And I was like, you know what? You're right. But when my son, who at that time was like 15, 16 years old, is telling me this, I'm like, oh, okay, what are other people thinking as they walk into that room, right? So again, just take a look at your entrance. And when I say entrance, it's that door. Stand outside your door and look. And so the entrance isn't anything that's on either side of what that is. It's just what's facing forward. So anything you can see from the time you walk in the room to straight ahead. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Maybe you've got a clock on the wall straight ahead that's crooked. Take a look. That's what we're going to fix. So it's all those little things that are in that cleaning point that we're going to tackle. And so each month, like I said, addresses 1 or 2 or 3 of those different cleaning points. So in the end, hopefully we'll get to where we need to be, but with all kinds of great tips and different things to come. So if that actually wraps up everything I wanted to share with you today, because we're not doing the worksheet online, but you guys can take that away as homework. Hoping, you know what, and maybe I will end up starting a separate Craftroom cleanup group to post all of this. I didn't actually think that far. I just kind of thought I'd throw it in there for the heart stampers, but I might change my mind because maybe we want to be a little more forthcoming sharing about our cleaning. Yeah, you know what? I think I probably will create a new Facebook group just for that purpose. And then that way for now, the videos can be posted or they can be posted in both places. Okay. See, I make decisions on the fly. Things change all the time, but I think that that'll be helpful just as we get started and as I dive deeper into getting this training program working. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm just going to turn off the recording so that I can have a nice little chat with those who are on to answer any questions. And then we'll go from there. So again, thanks so much for taking the time to kind of hear more about my story, walk through the journey I'm taking you on so that you can discover your story of your craft room needs. And we're going to work on this together I forgot to mention that is going to be every Saturday at 11 o'clock. We'll keep the same time. And I may pop in live every now and then, but I'm going to try and actually do pre-recorded videos to post for Saturday morning so that I can get my stuff done when it works for me, because I am a night owl and I'm trying to keep my habits for when I do go back to work so that I am only, doing my crafting stuff in the evenings and weekends. And like I said, I'm kind of a night owl, so that's when it works best. So if it's recorded, then you can access it whenever you want, but for sure it'll be up and posted by 11 a.m. That's when you can count on it going. Okay, reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye for now.